Hello and welcome to our first interview of La Verne's Interfaith Fellows. Today we have Shyonta Glothon. Welcome, Shy.
Hi.
So we have a few questions. So Shy, who are you? And what is your religious or spiritual or non-religious worldview?
I'm Shy and I am a double major in theater and psychology. I'm a fourth year at the University of La Verne, and my spiritual and religious worldview is as a progressive Christian.
And can you say just a little bit more? What does it mean to you to be a progressive Christian?
For me, to be a progressive Christian is to not necessarily define Christianity as what it says in the Bible or as what other people believe it to be, but it is something that I find myself within, and I believe in the Lord and what He has to offer. But I also do look towards other religions and spiritualities. Like sometimes I do candle healing, and some have called it candle magic. And so I will look towards that and have been told that I have a very high power towards that. And so that is something that I do in my time.
Thank you for that explanation, because people will want to know, what does that mean, progressive Christianity, to you? So what is, and maybe you already explained one thing, if you want to add anything, what is a concept or a practice within your worldview that's inspiring you right now?
Another thing that inspires me right now is self-meditation. And so sometimes I will go and just go for a walk, or I will go and sit in the grass and just be with myself, by myself, and just listen to the world around me, the trees blowing the wind. If there's water nearby, I'll listen to the water flowing. And I just do that sometimes in order to center myself and bring myself to a calm state.
That's so important, especially in this really tumultuous time that we're living in. And I'm glad you have some practices that you can do that do bring you back to your center. So can you explain why you are personally committed to interfaith cooperation?
Me personally, I'm committed to interfaith cooperation because I all started with my friend Damaris. She's the one who introduced me to it. And from meeting her, I just met several others, and just discovering that there's another world to religion than what we have been taught growing up, that this is your religion and this is what you believe. You can't believe in anything else. So coming into interfaith, I have discovered who I am personally and what my connection to the Lord actually was and is. And so from doing that, it has brought me to the fact that not everyone understands that religion isn't what it is taught to be or told to be, but it is what you make it to be. And so from learning that, I want others to understand that even if you're not religious, you can still do religious teachings or go to religious trainings and stuff like that, because it's still there to offer you another alternative. It's still there to offer you another vision or guidance. And it's not something that you have to commit to. It's just something that you can be a part of. And so I just joined it because I want others to feel welcome to ask questions. I want others to feel open to speak their mind about how they feel about certain religions and spiritualities without being judged or feeling that like they're being judged.
I really appreciate what you're saying about that our many different traditions have important things to teach and can be a source of inspiration, and we can learn from a lot of different traditions. And it sounds like that's the kind of openness you're drawn to, and is why you're an Interfaith Fellow.
Yes.
So how did you come to be interested in interfaith cooperation? Do you have a story connected to it?
Yes. So as a freshman on campus, I ran into Damaris Lau. Yes, Damaris Lau. And me and her just go way back. But with her, so she invited me to come to her club, Common Ground, which I am now the president of. And that day on, just from that moment of meeting her, me and her just became really close friends. And she introduced me to you, Sandra Wagner. And after meeting you, I was just like, wow, I've never met someone so open and just so curious and offering so much. And from meeting you, you just offered so much to me. And I was still going through a rough patch after graduating high school and coming to college and everything. And so having that support from you and her really just brought me to a place where I needed to be exposed to more. I wanted to discover more and find more. And Damaris told me like, oh, you should be an interfaith fellow. I was like, what? What is that? And she was like, I'm just in charge of it, and it's really fun. It's a group of people that have different religious backgrounds, and we all come together and discuss religion and bring our religions together and create a space where all religions can be comfortable with one another. And so from hearing her talk about that, I was like, okay, well, I've been looking to get more into my religious and spiritual side, so I'll check it out. And next thing you know, I knew several people in that space already. And so I figured it was the space for me. This was a space where I could learn and grow more. And so that is how I came into faith.
That's really great. And the interfaith space has really benefited from having you be part of it. So you've mentioned that you've learned to know quite a few different people within the interfaith circles at La Verne. Can you talk about any interfaith friendship that you have and how that's been important to you?
Well, the main one is Damaris. Me and her, we reach out every now and then. It's always like a weird moment where we're just like, hey. But with Damaris, it's like a long-term friendship, and she's learned from me as well as me learning from her. I mean, I've learned more from her, but she has still like learned some pieces from me. And just like from me and her piggybacking off of each other, because I know she is Christian and Buddhist, I believe. And from her teachings, she will piggyback off of what I have learned along the way, and I'll piggyback off of what she's learned between her two religions. And we just taught each other a lot. And other than Damaris, there's also my friend Jane. And with Jane, me and her were in theater together, and she was working on connecting to her spiritual and indigenous side. And she taught me a lot about indigenous people. And I just loved everything that she would tell me and teach me, because it really brought out how the world came to be and how there's so much that they offer and that the world has gotten from them and they get from the world. And I just loved everything that she would tell me, and like the stories that she would tell me about from her people. And I just really appreciate everything that Jane would ever tell me. And she also taught me about crystals and how the moon helps heal and it takes away the negative energy from your crystals and anything that's going on with you. If you heal with the moon, that is a very powerful thing to do. And there's one other friend that I want to mention, Jason. Jason's my favorite. So Jason, he was a pagan, or is a pagan, and I love Jason so much. He would tell me all the pagan history and everything of like what is real and what isn't real, and like what we know to believe about pagans. And so I just love everything that Jason would tell me as well. And so having those connections with them and all of us being able to share space together was just so powerful for me, just hearing everyone's stories. And I still am close to them today, and I enjoy the fact that I have those friends.
That's very special. Thank you for giving us a picture into the ways in which you've developed relationships across these differences in religious and spiritual practices. So our final question, how is interfaith work relevant in this time? Why should we care about it?
I feel interfaith work is relevant for many different purposes and many reasons. And everyone should honestly care about it, because I believe that interfaith work is the way into a new beginning. And so we have so much history that is negative, that is good. It's all comes from different directions. But in order for us to move forward today, we need to take those two things, put them together, and understand that this happened, but this does not define us. And so I feel with interfaith, it is the start to bringing multiple religions together, which most wars and most hypocrisies and everything started off because of different religions or because there was a disagreement between religions. And so from us understanding why those things happened and took place, and then putting them together and coming to a common goal and a common place with these things, I feel we can actually finally move forward. And today, right now, everything that's going on with Black Lives Matter and everything else, a big thing is understanding interculture, and interculture is a part of interfaith. And in order to understand both of those things, that is what we need in order to take the next step. Instead of fighting against each other and looking at all the negative things about each other, we need to look at the common things. We are all human and share the same planet and the same goals. So why not work towards that together?
Thank you, Shy. Thank you. You are always such a beautiful articulator of the ways in which interfaith work is so important and relevant for our time right now. Thank you for that, your leadership in that way. All right, so we are at the end of our interview, and feel free to reach out to Shy anytime. She would, I'm sure, love to continue the conversation. And stay tuned for more interviews with some of our other Interfaith Fellows in the near future. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye, Shy.
Bye, Sandra.